The NPP's chief whip, Frank Annoh-Dompreh, has faced criticism for some of his comments regarding various parliamentary matters, including the Ablekuma North constituency. We're now joined in studio by the Director of Communications for the NPP, Richard Ahiagbah, to discuss these issues. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Ahiagbah.
My pleasure.
Very well. Is Frank Annoh-Dompreh's stance an individual position within the party's parliamentary caucus, or does it represent the views of the NPP as a whole?
You mean his views on Ablekuma North?
Yes.
Well, thank you. I think the whole election in Ablekuma North is a problem. And I think one that should preoccupy all of us, including the president of the country, because the EC is called on the government to provide enough security for them to continue to collate and conclude that elections. And so really, the conversation around the minority chief whip, I think that should not constitute the matter. The thing is, why haven't we concluded that election? It's because the NDC supporters in the constituency, they are disrupting the process. The IGP is not doing what they're supposed to do, directed by the High Court to provide security for that election to be concluded. And so those, for me, are the key issues. What comments people have made are the effects of the causes that have not been addressed, and I think we should focus on those.
You know, Frank Annoh-Dompreh has been heavily criticized for comments that some perceive as promoting violence. Has the party taken notice of this, and what do you intend to do about it?
Again, I'm saying that what is causing all of these things? You remember, I think this on the 17th of January, the NDC supporters, led by their Greater Accra Regional Organizer, went to disrupt and vandalize properties at the EC regional office. Why are we not talking about that? That's the actual violence. That's what is happening. That's what the problem is. These are the effects of those. I don't think that we should be promoting violence, but we should be solving the problem. So if tonight we are focused on talking about Honorable Annoh-Dompreh, what he is going to say, and forgetting the misbehavior of NDC supporters, that will be doing injustice to the issue. I think we should focus on that. That's where we can solve the problem. Because if we solve the problem, he won't hold a mic to say what he's saying. That is not to discount it, but that is to say that why don't we solve the problem? The EC has called on the government, the NDC government, to support it, to provide security for it to do it. Why are they not doing it? They know about it because there are people who are going there to disrupt the process. Do they like it that way? Does His Excellency John Dramani Mahama like it that his members are disrupting the process and vandalizing property? If he likes it, fair enough. So let's talk about it. Let's even just assume now and say because he has not done anything about it, he likes it. That his people are disrupting the process. So that should constitute the matter for us to talk about. As a democratic country, is that how we want to run our country? You know, through the elections, the campaigns, and everything else, the NDC was going around saying that we shouldn't see any violence, for which reason they said there shouldn't be any military people participating in the process, right? So now, why is it that their people are being violent? They can't say anything about it. So for me, that's the issue. Everybody wants to talk about what Honorable Annoh-Dompreh said, because that's current, that is news. But what really is affecting our democracy and creating a state of panic and fear? If you saw the letter the EC issued, signed by, I think, his director of operation, one of the deputy chairs, says that the workers at the EC offices fear for their lives. The NDC went at the regional office and at the corporate head office. They went there, invaded the place, were warning people. What kind of instability are they trying to create? Then from December 7 up until now, the NPP you have not heard anywhere that a new patriotic party is going to vandalize anything at any election, EC office or at any election center. We haven't. And this Ablekuma North thing, the NDC is fully aware that we have won that election, and they're just doing everything they can to disrupt it. We have won. Currently, I think after the 17th, when they are supposed to sit and count, out of the 281 polling stations, about 278 had been decided. Three outstanding. Right?
Yeah.
And in that 3 outstanding, we are leading by some 349 or so votes. And so even if you discount the 3 remaining polling stations, the New Patriotic Party had won that election. So what are we waiting for? The EC is saying that IGP, based on the High Court ruling, please provide security. Why is the IGP not doing it? And the EC, in addition to what the court has directed, is called on the government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Those who say they don't want electoral violence when they were in opposition, they can't hear the call from the EC. That's the problem, not Honorable Annoh-Dompreh, in my humble opinion. That's not the issue.
A one-week ultimatum has been given. If that 1 week passes, what will the party do?
Well, I'm not sure. I think the matter is with the EC. The opportunity to resolve this thing is within the control of the government. So maybe I'll say that the NDC should change its position and begin to act like the Democrats that they are purporting to be and allow the process to unfold. What I hear now is some of the NDC supporters in the constituency are putting the request that out of the 3 polling stations that are outstanding, initially about some 62 polling stations that were contentious. Yeah. And they had resolved some of it. And now the 3 that is outstanding, they're saying they don't want all of that. They just scrap everything and go back to rerun those 62. That cannot be done, right? The election that was held on December 7th, there was no problem with it. Whatever problem you have with that 3 outstanding polling stations actually was caused by the NDC people. Again, violence. Again, their failure to just play by the rules that they have contributed in establishing. So really, 1 week ultimatum, I hope that it will lead the Electoral Commission to get this election concluded. Maybe we should also let the IGP know that he must work. I don't know his incapacitation where it comes from, that he can't act. Virtually, he's lost. You can't see the IGP. I don't know what is happening to him. Provide security so they can count. We're not asking him to go to war. Provide security. Right. On the 17th, when they were supposed to do that at the EC headquarters, regional head office, they actually contributed to all these things by saying that they've picked up some intelligence. Now, if you pick intelligence, don't you counter that intelligence? You prepare. Okay, you have the intelligence, you preempt it by having men there. They didn't.
Director of Communications for the NPP, Richard Ahiagbah, is still in studio with me. Let's now shift focus to parliamentary issues. Now, the minority in Parliament, they've been strongly criticized for its role in the disturbances at the Appointments Committee. What is the NPP's position on this, and how do you rate the minority's performance so far?
Well, I mean, the whole thing to do with that chaos that's on your screen, I think that is regrettable. And I think there's no way anybody can rationalize it. I think that it was right where some of the members of the committee apologized duly for it. I've seen Honorable Jerry Ahmed, I think he's made a very unreserved apology. So all the members in our caucus have done so. And I think that it was needless for that to happen. But having said that, there's a reason why that happened. That reason is the NDC. See, when you are acting and working with people in good faith, like we're sitting here, right? I should behave in a certain way. If you say it's enough, I should be able to comply because you're working with time. And when they said that, okay, well, we've vetted all day, and to a point where we want to say, let's stop here, around about 9, 10 in the evening, there's nothing that is going to break, right? It's not existential that we stop this and do it tomorrow. So as if we are in mid-flight that we have to land. No, we had finished one. So let's do it tomorrow. And they said, no, that's completely unreasonable. And you see, this committee, the cooperation of the minority on this committee is unprecedented. Where they needed to actually advertise the nominees for a period of time, for petitions to be accepted and all that, they short-circuited that process and said, well, let's carry on so government can get up and be doing. They cooperated, that is going on. You wanted to vet at a certain time, you said, let's do it Monday, they cooperated, they came, you were doing it. So there's nothing. And in fact, what led to some of these backlog to do with the accusation against the chair of the committee and the NDC members on it, The MPP, you know, the accusation was not targeted at the MPP, it was at the NDC, fair and square. But then our people supported them to actually make sure that they are cleared of those accusations. So what else are you looking for? The MPP members have bent over backwards to work with you. So if you came to a point and said, look, let's continue tomorrow, what really was the point in saying that if you are tired, go home, we will do it? Really, are they saying that Ablekuma cannot answer questions? Are they saying Sir George or Honorable Akando can't answer questions? So they want to bring them in at that time? Granted that there was a backlog, you want to bring them in. What is going to break? Now we'll stop vetting for a few days now. What has happened? So the cause of all of this thing, whilst it's not acceptable and we should discourage it, the cause of it is the NDC. And I think that we should be frank and tell the NDC that they need to be responsible, even with the majority they have. The numbers they have, they must act responsibly, because for all the power they have, if they don't act responsibly, if anything happens with this parliament, it will be on their head.
Right.
If this parliament becomes dysfunctional and unproductive, it will be on their head, because who is the leader of the house? No, Honorable Mahama, who is an NDC. The Speaker, Honorable Ahiagbah, is an NDC. The President, an NDC. It is their government. Yes, we're participating in that, but they must take the utmost responsibility, and they must act that way. So what they are doing is not acceptable.
The committee investigating the disturbances are reconvening tomorrow. Will the minority be present?
Well, I don't know the state of that committee right now. Already what they have done is to parade the NDC people, the Speaker, and then they hurled accusation at the MPP, members of the committee. If tomorrow they have to continue, are they going to do it openly again to give them also the chance to state their case? I think it's pointless, really. At this point, the matter has been resolved. Everybody understands that we need to move on and not do this anymore. The committee is not addressing the cause of the matter. They are addressing the effect, which is chairman says, oh, it's happening, oh, I'm this. But who insisted unreasonably to create all of these things? That's not been addressed. It's not. It's just the fluff. The cause, the effect is what we're addressing. You can't solve problems like that. Tomorrow, when you address the effect and it says that, oh, it's happening, oh, this person apologized and all of that, the person who caused it will cause it again. And therefore, if the people who are reacting to what somebody has caused, they are the ones you're punishing, you will never stop having problems. Problems will keep coming because the one who is causing it, you haven't addressed it.
All right. Mr. Ahiagbah, there's a school of thought that the NPP is forcing its members to toe a particular line with regards to the approval of minister designates.
But that's not new, right? That's not new. The NDC, when they were vetting us, when we came into power, said the same thing they were doing. It's a caucus. There's a strategy. It's politics, right? So, for example, there's this issue up in the air about Honorable Ablekuma saying that the house he's living in is rented, it's not his. But there's plenty evidence that it's his. I mean, are you saying that that matter is okay with us like that? The president, we just heard him, he says what, oral will do A, B, C, D, right? Who are the people going? Is that not a matter? What if your name is A and you are denying your name right before me, there must be a basis why you are denying your name. Why is it not going? Why can't he just not say freely, that's my house? Okay, so if they had to look into it, let's look into it. Why do you say it's you rented it? It doesn't make any sense to me. So there must be a reason why he's beginning or trying to hide the truth. If there's a reason why, we should find out. It's going to a public space, is a place of trust. We, the people of Ghana, he's going to represent us. Do foreign policy in our name. Put away the competence, capability, and all of that. He was going to get plenty of support to do that. But we're talking character at that point. Right. We're talking equity. He brings a lot of people to account. Okay? Why is it that he cannot be held accountable? Why can we know, if we see the glaring fact of the matter, that look, there's something wrong here. So our party, our caucus, is not engaged in anything other than ensure that the public interest is preserved. Right. We are working for the public agenda, the public good, and that's why they are there. That's the purpose of the committee, so they should be allowed to do it. All these things that has happened where people are blaming and appearing to say as if that the committee is doing something untoward, I think it's most unfortunate.
Right.
It's an NDC agenda. We are just there to question and to do what the committee is supposed to do. And I think that we should commend them, not accuse them.
Mr. Ahiagbah, thank you very much for joining us.